Welcome back to We Regret Nothing. I'm Sean, and today we reached the final reel in our exploration of the films of the 1940s. Over the last few episodes, Andrea, Michelle, and I worked our way through 20 films that helped define one of the most transformative decades in cinema history, the 1940s. 1940s gave us wartime dramas, noir masterpieces, sweeping romances, groundbreaking animation, and stories that reflected a world forever changed by conflict and uncertainty. Now, we're down to the top 10. And by the end of this episode, if we've done our jobs, only 5 films will earn a place in the capsule to represent this decade. Still standing are movies that shaped genres, launched icons, and changed the language of filmmaking itself. But today, admiration isn't enough. We have to decide which films best capture the spirit, artistry, and cultural impact of the 1940s. That means tough cuts, strong opinions, and probably a few hurt feelings along the way. So, dim the lights, cue the projector, and join us as we debate, defend, and decide which 5 films survive to represent the 1940s in our space capsule. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello.
Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Why don't I start with just going back over the list of the top 10 movies? Number 1, Leave Her to Heaven. Number 2, The Lost Weekend. Number 3, Casablanca. Number 4, It's a Wonderful Life. Number 5, Double Indemnity. Number 6, Meet Me in St. Louis. Number 7, The Great Dictator. Number 8, The Bicycle Thief. Number 9, Laura. And number 10, Notorious. So let's just jump into number 1, Leave Her to Heaven. Michelle. We alternate every episode.
I
am just...
What's she going to say? I literally no notes on this because I've never seen it.
Oh.
And it was Andrea's. You get one.
Andrea, go ahead then. Jump in.
Thank you.
Do you want a recap of it, or?
I want... Well, let me tell you this. Leave Her to Heaven is a 1945 American psychological thriller. It's directed by John Stahl, starring Gene Tierney, Cornell Wilde, Gene Crane, and Vincent Price. It's based on the 1944 novel of the same name by Ben Ames Williams, adapted by screenwriter Joe Swerlin. So this story follows a socialite who marries a prominent novelist, which spurs a violent, obsessive, and dangerous jealousy in her. I don't like the sounds of it already, but go ahead.
It was my you get one for the 40s because it was the first film noir shot in color. It was one of the first examples of it's almost like the war and the horrors that were going on at the time made people realize too, women could be pure evil. Not just somebody that tricks somebody into murdering her husband or doing this, which we've gotten is great. But this is where this chick is actively psychotic, where she lets her brother-in-law drown. She aborts her own child by throwing herself down the stairs and doesn't want to be growing the monster to begin with, but she's trying to keep her husband. She ends up killing herself, but making it look like her husband and her sister had something to do with it because they had fallen in love because her sister wasn't a loony. It's so I don't think this movie would have really been made in the 30s and then to this level. There was always something that could be redeemed but in this there's nothing redeemable. It's the first time that I saw a woman character that I was just die. You were insane. And I think I picked it. I know I picked you because to me it was the 40s, not in the 30s and 50s. Then picked it up and ran with it. But it's always known this movie was 45 and that it was just it's the end of the war and people are let's just be real about stuff. And that's what this movie symbolized to me.
Okay. And Michelle, you've never seen this movie? Okay. so I won't make you.
I don't reach.
Well, she doesn't know how to. Again, that's
So yeah,
we're
in May of 1944, 20th Century Fox exec Daryl Zanuck, we've talked about Daryl, but Daryl purchased the rights to Ben Ames's Williams' then unpublished novel called Leave Her to Heaven, planning a screen adaptation. The studio spent $100,000 in 1944. $100,000 to acquire the rights to the novel, which then the novel was published the following month in June of 40. The title of the film and its source novel is derived from William Shakespeare's Hamlet. In Act 1, Scene 5, the ghost urges Hamlet not to seek vengeance against Queen Gertrude, but rather to leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. I just wanted to say bosom. But in November of 44, Production Code Administration approved Joe Swirling's screenplay, though they strongly encouraged the studio to minimize the depiction of Ellen inducing her own miscarriage. This is what the PCA wrote. It will be absolutely essential to remove any flavor that Ellen plans to murder the unborn child merely because she is misshapen. It should definitely be established that her reason for murdering the child is that she thinks the newborn will replace her in her husband's affections. That's what the production code, that's what they wanted this to be. This is important in order to avoid any of the flavor. They said flavor twice. This is it. I am quoting. This is important in order to avoid any of the flavor that this is normally connected with what could be termed abortion. Anyway, Leave Her to Heaven premiered in the U.S. on December 20th, 1945 at the Carthay Circle Theater in L.A., and then subsequently had its New York premiere on Christmas Day, 45.
It's quite the press.
Yeah, it's not a Christmas movie. But technically it is. I mean, it debuted in New York on Christmas. It was the second highest grossing film in 1945, second only to The Bells of St. Mary's. This movie earned $5.5 million in domestic rentals, internationally another 2.7, so about a gross of $8.2 million. At the 1946 Academy Awards, Jane Tierney was nominated for Best Actress. A whole bunch of three people were nominated for Best Art Direction. Leon Shamroy won an Academy Award for Best Cinematography, Color. I'm assuming from this, and I should have looked, but I just assumed that they had two categories for Best Cinematography at the Academy Awards, black and white and color.
Makes sense.
They were nominated for Best Sound Recording, and then, nominated for the Grand International Award at the Venice Film Festival. So a lot of awards, a lot of money. It was a good choice by you, Andrea.
Thank you.
So now, screwing up my whole list. But number 2, we'll start with Michelle. But number 2, you all suck. Number 2 is The Lost Weekend. The Lost Weekend is a 1945 American drama film noir directed by Billy Wilder, and starring Ray Milland and Jane Wyman. It was based on Charles R. Jackson's 1944 novel about an alcoholic writer. Michelle.
Again, this one I think captures the very gritty, almost end of the war New York. That people who, and this wasn't necessarily set during the war, I suppose anytime, which we can talk about in a few minutes. But just the desperation, the pure desperation of knowing what you are, not being able to help it, trying to help it, and then maybe getting there, right? Just the constant struggle with it. I like that that Billy had basically modeled this after Raymond Chandler, and there was I don't think I mentioned this last time, but there was an urban legend that he or that the liquor makers, like the liquor union or whatever, had hired a gangster to obtain, right, to offer Billy Wilder $5 million to get the negative so that he could just burn it, because it was going to cast alcohol is
Yeah.
bad luck.
Oh my God.
But Billy Wilder said that was not true. It didn't happen because had they offered $1 million,
In 1945,
he was like, I was burned. Oh, I just thought it was kind of funny that they were so worried that alcohol was
Yeah.
going to be shown in a poor light that they were like, maybe we don't want that.
Pause.
Yeah. So that's about it. I think it was gritty and hard to watch as child of an alcoholic, but it was good.
Yeah. So there's two parts to what you just said. The first part is, I believe to be true. The second part is urban legend, wrapped into the same.
Yeah.
thing. So the liquor industry launched a campaign to undermine the film even before its release. Allied Liquor Industries, a national trade organization, wrote an open letter to Paramount warning that anti-drinking groups would use this film to reinstate prohibition.
I can see where they're worried. I mean, Prohibition had just been 20 years before.
The second part is the urban legend part. The urban legend is that the liquor interest allegedly enlisted gangster Frank Costello to offer Paramount $5 million to buy the film's negative to burn it. As you said, Wilder quipped that if they'd offered me $5 million, I would have burned the negative. But yeah. So this film, I think Michelle brought this up in the last episode, but was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, won 4. Which was Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay. It shared the Grand Prix at the first Cannes Film Festival, making it one of only 4 films to win both the Academy Award for Best Picture and the highest award at Cannes, other 3 being Marty in 55, Parasite in 2019, and Anora in 2024. So just a little behind-the-scenes stuff but Wilder originally wanted Jose Ferrer, just talking about him last night for the role of Dawn, but he turned it down. And then Charles Brackett's first choice for playing Helen was Olivia de Havilland, but she was involved with a lawsuit that prevented her from being in any movie until that lawsuit was settled. I meant to go back up and look what that was, but that's just me being nosy.
With the lawsuit.
And then there were rumors that Katharine Hepburn and Jean Arthur were considered for the role as well, but yeah. And Michelle, another good addition. Both of you had good ones. So number 3, to get me back on track, Michelle's going again, just to be clear. But number 3 is Casablanca. Casablanca is 1942 American romantic drama film directed by Michael Curtiz, starring Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, and Paul Henreid. Filmed and set during World War II, it focuses on an American expat, Bogart, who must choose between his love for a woman, Bergman, and helping her husband, Henry, escape from the Vichy-controlled city of Casablanca to continue his fight against the Nazis. Michelle?
I mean, I think we touched on this. Just it's iconic, right? I don't think, again, you talk about this a lot, or at least I do. You can ask someone on the street, or you can, you could say, "Play it again, Sam," even though we all know that's not exactly what he said. But people will know what you're talking about, and maybe they can't put it in but anyone of our age or older knows what this is, can completely place it, when it takes place, and that it's just everybody knows this film.
That's why we have a movie called The Usual Suspects. Round up the usual suspects. This movie is iconic, and it is for a reason. And yeah, I love that they released it so close to the Allied invasion in Africa, just keeping everything. It's funny that you can't use him in the you wonder if it would be. I don't know. She leaves too, and everyone comes to Rick's, right, in the story. So in the book, so I kind of like that too. There's so much about it that I like, and I feel a lot of it is because of who Bogart was. Rick got away with maybe being less than chivalrous and doing a couple things just because people liked him. It's like how Tom Hanks can't play a bad guy. He tried Road to Perdition. It didn't work. It was
He's America's dad.
He is. So I feel that I feel what I'm saying is a lesser actor of stature or renown.
Hi.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not right. But I feel I don't know if this movie would be what it was.
Yeah. And so Warner Brothers story editor Irene Diamond convinces producer Hal Wallace to purchase the film rights to the play. Play. There it is. But so then the brothers Julius and Philip Epstein were initially assigned to write the script. But there was some studio resistance I'll get into in a second. So they left to work on Capra's Why We Fight series in 42. And then they assigned Howard Koch, Koch.
It
That
depends.
stuff.
It could be Coke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Dark.
Howard,
Koch brothers.
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. Like, okay. I'm sorry, Howard. But Howard Koch was assigned to the screenplay and it wasn't going well. So then Warner Brothers brings the Epsteins back a month later. And so they do share credit on this, but Howard, okay. But I just want to talk about the Epsteins for a second because the Epsteins are born to a Jewish family in 1909 in New York, raised on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. They are identical twins. And their father, Harry, was a livery stable owner in the days when horses were all that was used in the city. And so they were able to go to Penn State College. That's what it was called then. It's now Penn State University. But both of the brothers, Julius and I just lost his name, but both of the brothers went to Penn State. Following college, briefly, Philip took up acting. He was fascinated with acting, but Julius became a professional boxer. And so shortly after that, neither one of them really were enjoying their careers. So they both packed up and headed to Hollywood, hoping to work in the movie industry. They quickly became successful screenwriters.
They get the standard rich and famous contract.
They did. How did you know? But here's where the reason that going back that they were brought off of this initially as the screenwriters, Jack Warner, head of Warner Brothers, had a love-hate relationship with the twins. He was upset because he could never argue with their commercial success, but he hated their pranks, their work habits, and the hours that they kept. So Andrea's head's going to explode. In 1952, Jack here, Warner, gave the twins names to the House Un-American Activities Committee. Now, they never testified before the committee, but on the HUAC questionnaire that they got sent because they were turned in, when asked if they were ever members of a subversive organization, they both answered yes and listed Warner Brothers. And I thought that was hilarious.
Oh my God, that's so good.
So Julius died of cancer at the age of 42.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Philip. I'm sorry, that was Philip.
Still
died of cancer at 42, but had kids and has a grandson named Theo Epstein, who is the baseball executive he's the president of baseball operations for the Cubs.
Wow.
Now general manager of the Red Sox. But that is Theo Epstein. What, Michelle?
Epstein. You said they did. Yeah.
Theo.
I know.
Theo's pretty famous in the base.
You did that.
You did.
So his twin brother Julius outlived him by 48 years. He died at age 91 in 2000, but the stories are he never got over his brother's death.
I bet he didn't.
But he did keep working. So Julius, Academy Award nomination in 1939 for adapted screenplay for Four Daughters. 44 Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay for Casablanca. 73 nominated for an Academy Award for Pete and Tilly. 84 nominated for an Academy Award for the screenplay of Reuben. I'm not sure what Reuben is.
I don't know either of those last two.
But anyway,
until you were
Julius had a very good screenwriting career.
Me too.
Yeah, and I just wanted to talk about
I
about
also
the
I also have a quote from him that when the screenplay, when it was finished, he said that the screenplay, I quote, contained more corn than in the states of Kansas and Iowa combined. But when corn works, there's nothing better.
True statement.
Oh,
Okay, number four. Number four is It's a Wonderful Life. Directed and produced by Frank Capra, the 1946 American Christmas fantasy drama It's a Wonderful Life features James Stewart in the role of George Bailey. The story follows Bailey, a man who sidelined his own aspirations to support his community and then contemplates suicide on Christmas Eve. His guardian angel, Clarence Oddbody, intervenes by revealing the profound impact George has had on others and illustrating the grim reality of a world in which he was never born. Andrew.
this movie is a classic, and when it came out in 46, it was pretty much panned. Audiences didn't really like it, and I believe that was a direct result of World War II. Like, it was just like,
How so? What do you?
it's not a wonderful life. Shit happens, and it's tough. You know what, Frank? The little man always wins, even if he does it, and we don't need your fucking pap. I really believe that. I wasn't there. I'm saying that's why I believe, like any other time, a Frank Capra film does fantastic. And I just think that my total supposition is that this movie would have done fantastic in the 30s, and it would have done fantastic in the 50s. But because of the 40s and when it came out, it was just, I think people maybe didn't look so cheery anymore, especially 46, where you learn more of the horrors of the war, and people came home and told you, or the people that experienced it. But this movie is, number one, the villain doesn't get his comeuppance. Which to me, and you know me, Sean, you know me pretty well, how I'm always like, but it's not fair. They didn't fucking pay for what they did. After the first time I saw this movie, I never thought on that again. When I was like, wait, they're not gonna, and my mom was like, no. And it never bothered me, because I'm like, Mr. Potter he doesn't know, but George tells him when he's a little boy, when he's being a dick to George's dad. He's just a twisted, shriveled old man, and he's not happy with anything. And that's his hell. He might not know it, but that's his hell. And just the performances in this movie are so good. The part when George goes home after he finds out that Uncle Billy has misplaced $8,000, and the way with his kids, I'm like, George, it's not their fault. Don't be a fucking dick. And I love Jimmy Stewart. I love Jimmy Stewart, and I love George Bailey. And he did such a. It's a really, really, even down to the smallest characters that are fucking Sam Wainwright, like everything, Othello, like all. It's a classic.
Michelle, anything to add?
I'm not an ill word to say about this movie. Not one. I would watch it right now.
Oh, okay. We'll throw it on. I would say, Andrea, you brought up, I know your feelings about Mr. Potter and all that other stuff, but on May 26, 1947, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, issued a memo stating, with regard to the picture It's a Wonderful Life, redacted name, stated in substance that the film represented rather obvious attempts to discredit bankers by casting Lionel Barrymore as a Scrooge type so that he would be the most hated man in this picture. This, according to many of our sources, is a common trick used by communists. In addition, redacted name stated that, I don't know who the redacted name is and I couldn't find it, but in addition, redacted name stated that in his opinion, this picture deliberately maligns the upper class attempting to show the people who had money were mean and despicable characters. And then followed by film historian Andrew Sarris observed is curious that the censors never noticed that the villainous Mr. Potter gets away with robbery without being caught or punished in any way, which goes directly against the Hays Code.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw out your point was validated at least by this film historian. So Andrew, thank you for that. But
maybe the redacted name was William Wyler, who directed The Best Years of Our Lives. He was like, "Fuck, this film's gonna beat me."
Oh God.
So Michelle brought this up. I think in the last episode, but I wanted to kind of go through. I want to put them together. Andrea said this thing came out to mixed reviews and made no money, and there was some question as to Frank Capra's ability to direct movies that would make money after this. So again, Liberty Films, Capra's company, made this movie. And then in 1951, Liberty Films gets acquired by Paramount Pictures. 4 years later, Paramount sold the film rights to this movie to independent distributor M&A Alexander. No clue who that is, doesn't matter. The acquisition by the aforementioned distributor included key rights to the original television syndication, the original nitrate film elements, the music score, and the film rights to the story on which the film is based, The Greatest Gift. Then National Telefilm Associates, NTA, took over the rights to the film within the next 2 years. Then NTA, there is a clerical error at NTA that prevented the copyright from being renewed properly in 1974. Despite the lapsed copyright, television stations that aired it still had to pay royalties because the film's images had entered public domain, but the film's story was still restricted as a derivative work of the published story, The Greatest Gift, the copyright of which Philip Van Doren Stern had renewed in 1971. So you see, Stern, The Greatest Gift, renews the copyright in 1971, but NTA, everything else associated with this movie, doesn't get renewed. And so then late 1970s, early 1980s, it starts being shown on television. And due to its repeated showings each holiday season on hundreds of local television stations, this becomes it's a very popular Christmas movie. And then in 1998, there was a trial, the Copyright Term Extension Act of 98, and it is mentioned prominently in there as an example. In 1993, Republic Pictures, which was the successor to NTA became Republic Pictures, relied on the 1990 U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Stewart versus Aben, which was Jimmy Stewart, but different movie, Rear Window, to enforce its claim to the copyright. While the film's copyright had not been renewed, Republic still owned the film rights to The Greatest Gift. Thus, the plaintiffs were able to argue its status as derivative work. So stop showing this movie. That year, Republic made a deal with Turner Broadcasting System, authorizing only 3 airings of this movie, all on cables TNT and TBS. However, the studio's attempt to reassert control was widely ignored. No one listened. So in 1994, the studio sold exclusive TV rights to NBC. And we're thrilled that we will have the opportunity to broadcast this picture, said NBC Entertainment President Warren Littlefield. We will broadcast the original director's cut in black and white, full length, the way Frank Capra intended this picture to be seen every Christmas Eve. So I took that as like NBC was like, and CBS, everybody was still showing it, even though there was, TBS was like, you can't do this. And they were like, no, we're doing it. So that is what caused this movie to be, what it is, I think. That's what I came up
The first year that NBC showed it on Christmas Eve, they did a tie-in with everybody who had a hit show on NBC talking about, so like people from ER. And,
Their memories of
their memories of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So it was
do you know what year that was?
94.
And so what? ER? Well, I don't want to take us on.
ER
this,
had been on for
yeah, but I was trying to think of the hit shows in 94 on NBC.
ER, Seinfeld, Friends.
We'll just say Seinfeld. We just need to hear podcasts.
That show's
Seinfeld.
so overrated.
Okay, podcast over. Thank you, everybody. It's been fun. Number 5, Double Indemnity. Do either of you have anything on Double? We talked a lot about this movie.
We did.
Anything?
Nothing.
No.
Okay, so if you don't mind, if you'll indulge me,
Knock yourself out.
I would like to talk about one Billy Wilder. This is the second movie in this episode that we've talked about Billy Wilder. So Samuel Wilder was born on June 22nd, 1906, into a Jewish family in Suka, which is present-day Poland. It's a small town in what is now Poland. Because the name of it, I'm not going to try to pronounce, but it was Austria-Hungary. There was a whole thing. But so the family moves to Vienna in 1916, and Wilder becomes a journalist around 1924 instead of attending the University of Vienna. So he was supposed to go to school, and instead he becomes a journalist. And he's pretty young, 1906 to 1924.
18.
He's 18. But 2 years later, this is 1926, jazz leader Paul Whiteman goes on tour in Vienna,
Girlfriend Paul,
where he was interviewed by Wilder. And Whiteman liked Wilder so much that he takes him on tour with the band to Berlin, where Wilder is able to make a whole bunch of connections in the entertainment industry through Whiteman. So he makes those and stays in Berlin. Wilder gets a job as a stringer for local newspapers, writing crime and sports stories. Then he's eventually offered a regular job at a Berlin tabloid. Immediately develops an interest in film, and from 1929 to 1933, he began working as a screenwriter, and he produced 12 German films. The rise of the Nazi
I was
Party.
just going to say, when did Billy?
Yeah, and anti-Semitism in Germany saw him move to Paris. And so he moved to Paris in 1934 and made his directorial debut with the film Sean Mauvais Grain. Yeah, damn it. But he relocated to Hollywood prior to the movie's release. After arriving in Hollywood in 1934, Wilder continued working as a screenwriter. He became a naturalized citizen of the U.S. in 1939, but had to spend some time in Mexico waiting for the government to do this after his 6-month card expired. But anyway, Wilder's first significant success was I quit. Ninotchka, a collaboration with fellow German immigrant Ernst Lubitsch. The romantic comedy starred Greta Garbo, who at the time was known as a tragic heroine in these melodramas, and was popularly and critically acclaimed, with the byline "Garbo laughs." And he is credited with taking Greta Garbo's career in an absolutely new direction. The film marked Wilder's first Academy Award nomination. Wilder co-wrote many of his films with Charles Brackett, from 1938 to 1950. Brackett described their collaboration process. This is a quote from Charles Brackett. "The thing to do was suggest an idea, have it torn apart and despised. Wait a few days. It would be apt to turn up slightly changed as Wilder's idea. Once I got adjusted to that way of working, our lives were very simple." So Wilder continues his screenwriting career with a series of box office hits in the early 40s, including the romantic drama Hold Back the Dawn, the screwball comedy Ball of Fire. Both films earned him nominations for the 1941 Academy Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Story. Wilder made his Hollywood directorial debut in 1942 with a movie called The Major and the Minor, which was a comedy starring Ginger Rogers and Ray Milland, two people we've spoken about on this podcast. Oh boy, Sean, why do you do this? It's not the pronunciation thing. This is a downer. But Wilder's mother, stepfather, and grandmother were all victims at the Holocaust. For decades, Wilder assumed that they were all killed at Auschwitz. But while researching Polish and Israeli archives, his Austrian biographer discovered in 2011 they were all murdered in different locations. His mother at Platzow, his stepfather at Belzec, and his grandmother in the ghetto in Noe Targ. But a whole bunch of his family members murdered in the Holocaust. Then, what we're talking about right now, Wilder's third Hollywood film as a director, Double Indemnity. We've already gone over all this, but starring Frank McMurray, Barbara Stanwyck, Edward G. Robinson, was a major hit, nominated for 7 Academy Awards. And the film not only set conventions for the genre, the big one was the Venetian blind lighting, and then what I think Michelle brought up, the voiceover narration. Both of those started with this. But here's the key, because I talked about the Hays Code and all of this nonsense about censorship. This movie is considered a landmark in a battle against Hollywood censorship. This is based on James Cain's novel. It featured 2 love triangles and a murder plotted for insurance money. So while the book was popular with the reading public, it was considered unfilmable because of the Hays Code. Because adultery was central to the plot, we talked about all this. The way the book did all this, and then, but another callback. Also, in 1945, Wilder adapted Charles R. Jackson's novel, The Lost Weekend. And it was the first major American film with serious examination of alcoholism, another difficult thing to get past the production code. And so saying Wilder was able to, I think, holds a significant place, I would say it that way, in history as far as Hollywood censorship goes. He was able to expand the range of acceptable subject matter. He had to do it a little bit subversively, but he directed 2 of film noir's definitive films, Double Indemnity and Sunset Boulevard. And then on all of the lists, Billy Wilder he leads the list of films on the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Laughs. He earned the top spot on that with Some Like It Hot. Also on the list are The Apartment, The 7-Year Itch, which he directed, Ball of Fire, Anachka, which he co-wrote. I mean, the AFI also listed Double Indemnity, Sunset Boulevard, Some Like It Hot, The Apartment on AFI's 100 movies. Again, I could go on and on about all of the rankings of where he's at. I mean, I don't know that I realized, I hear his name all the time and didn't really maybe realize the impact in what he's done. And I always think of him for the movies that I like, the film noir movies, but he's making Some Like It Hot and, these other comical movies that I just didn't appreciate it. So I wanted everybody to know. There's 2 things. I don't want to go on too much. I don't want to run over time, but in 1993, when Belle Epoque won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Film Language Film, he said in his that's the movie. The filmmaker Fernando Trueba said in his acceptance speech, "I would like to believe in God in order to thank him, but I just believe in Billy Wilder. So thank you, Mr. Wilder." According to Trueba, Wilder called him the day after and told him, "Fernando, it's God." Uh, 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 French filmmaker Michael
Baby.
Hazanavicius. Sure. Thank Billy Wilder in the 2012 Best Picture Oscar acceptance speech for The Artist.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie The Artist. His speech was, "I would like to thank the following 3 people. Number 1, I would like to thank Billy Wilder. Number 2, I would like to thank Billy Wilder. And finally, I would like to thank Billy Wilder." So anyway, Billy Wilder's impact on not only Hollywood censorship, but just movie making in general, I just felt like I couldn't let that go unsaid. So thank you for indulging me.
He's very likely your favorite director's favorite old director.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good way to put it.
Well put. Yeah, well put. Okay, number 6, Meet Me in St. Louis. Meet Me in St. Louis is a 1944 American musical film in Technicolor made by MGM. Divided into a series of seasonal vignettes, starting with the summer of 1903, relates the story of a year in the life of the Smith family in St. Louis, leading up to the opening of the World's Fair in the spring of 1904. And that is Andrea.
Yeah, it is a musical. It's Judy Garland in a musical. It's pretty good cast. Other than that, too, I pushed for it for in the top 10 because it's a Technicolor musical. Like, it's just right there. It's got the right amount of happiness and pathos, and some great songs came from this. And
Yeah. Michelle?
I mean, it looks great, right? I like that it's set in the seasons. And when you know that half the budget was music and sets, it makes total sense. On a rewatch, you're like, oh yeah, well no shit, right? It
Yeah.
looks great.
But let me ask you this. Andrew, you said as far as a musical goes, but before this movie, what was a musical? Was it the same as this? It was? So, like, having, in the movie, they break out into song or that. I know that we talked about Fred Astaire and stuff like that, but a musical done, 'cause I'm asking and I don't know. We say musical, and I feel like
Ooh, as you say that, that makes me
this
think, is that would be like calling The Wizard of Oz a musical, which I wouldn't call it.
see what I'm that's what I'm saying. So, there was a time this is all just Sean, Dum Dum,
No,
feels
that's really
like
good because, like, White Christmas isn't a musical. It has
correct,
music.
but it has music in it. Was this, and it's not rhetorical, was this the first actual musical in that they didn't do musical numbers as in the movie where they break out into song? But because that's just me, I feel like this might have been the first actual musical, but I don't know.
But what's making you call it an actual musical? It's the same setup as all other movies that have.
I just feel like
Songs.
this is different. I can't put my finger on it. I was
But I would
hoping
say
y'all
it's
could help
a
me.
great musical. That's all.
Oh, okay.
So if
Please tell me.
I'm trying to look this up, but I'm also like going to take a stab at it before I do that. For me, like what is a musical? If you held a gun to my head and asked me to define it, I would say it's not just people singing songs.
Yeah.
It's that the songs move the plot along. The songs are part of the story. It's not just, oh, she looked out the window and the snow was falling and she sang a pretty song about the snow.
Yeah.
It's the snow now has snowed us in,
Mhm.
and then the next scene is just them acting like, what are we going to do about this snowstorm, right? Up to me, and I'm having a hard time finding like what other people actually define this as.
Yeah.
But for me, songs have to
But yes, like
plot
Rent.
along.
Rent,
Like,
that's exactly it.
Hamilton,
Something-
right?
Hamilton,
Everybody in
yeah.
the mom
But
has
yeah,
seen Hamilton
under that definition, which I like,
and move the plot along.
that Wizard of Oz is a musical then, under that definition. And I like that definition.
Some of those songs move the plot along.
Oh.
They do not all move the plot.
Maybe not then.
And
This
tell
might-
the story too. Like the songs also
Yeah.
tell the
Yes.
story.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't mean to take us down that road.
No, I
was
love
just-
you. It's a
great-
Thank
it's
you,
a
Michelle.
great-
That's a great
It's
way
a
to.
great question.
It is, and thank you, Michelle, for your.
While Michelle's looking, I want to just throw out a couple of things. Judy Garland recorded the trolley song in one take.
Of course, she did.
So if you've ever heard that song, if you've seen it perform, like seen the movie, no retakes, no overdubs, just one take.
Okay. So I mean,
Go ahead.
we all know that maybe this isn't, the best reference in the world, but Wikipedia defines a musical film, which is what we're talking
Yes.
about, right? A film genre in which songs by the characters are interwoven into the narrative, sometimes accompanied by dancing. The songs usually advance the plot or develop its characters, but in some cases they serve merely as brief for a storyline, often as elaborate production numbers. So the first example they show is "Sing It in the Rain." Now
okay.
that a big part of that movie is that they are singers and dancers. So does that move the plot along? Yes. Right. We see how Debbie Reynolds becomes
Mhm.
part of in the mix because of all those because it's a movie within a movie kind of thing, right? So I think what else? And they are saying that Rogers and Astaire are music films, but that mostly because of the same
Because
type of story.
Mhm.
they're entertainers, and he came into town and he had to hire the new gal or whatever. And then the big production numbers are just showing you that's their job.
Yeah.
Right? That's
But
what they
that's
do.
plain Christmas.
Yeah.
They're entertainers, and they're showing what God, Michelle just said it again, or said a new thing, is showing them just doing their job.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and maybe Singing in the Rain is, maybe this isn't the first, but this, I
Well,
do
it's
feel
eight.
like,
Again, Wikipedia. During the 1940s and 50s, musical films from MGM, particularly because that became the big, right? They include Meet Me in St. Louis, Easter Parade, On the Town, American in Paris, Singing in the Rain, Bandwagon, High Society, Gigi. Like it goes on and on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit, but okay, so like here's what I always think of, like it just in our time frame. West Side Story.
Mm-hmm.
Without the music, the plot doesn't move.
No.
Right? You don't know why he's running through Spanish Harlem singing Maria and one girl comes to the window.
Still
That's
my
my
favorite.
favorite joke I've
That's
ever
my
stolen.
favorite.
Right? You don't know the gangs,
Yeah.
but you find out why during the musical
Mhm.
numbers. It moves the plot along.
Yeah.
So that's in my head. That's
yeah,
how
no, I
always-
love it. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. Like I said, I didn't mean to drag us down that road, but
No.
I just,
No,
there's,
it's interesting to think
I'm a
about.
curious person. There's things I want to learn. So, three things real quick and then we'll move on. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. The way that it was sung in the movie is not the original lyrics.
Expressing
Mhm.
hell.
Yeah, it
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. It may be your last.
Yeah.
Next year, we may all be living in the past. Judy Garland looked at the songwriter, Hugh Martin, and said, if I sing that to little Margaret, the audience is going to think I'm a monster. Martin, now older when he's interviewed, but says, I was young, I was stubborn. I initially refused to rewrite the song. That was my song. Co-star Tom Drake pulled me aside and called me a stupid son of a bitch and had some other choice words for me. And I decided to finally rewrite the lyrics.
Yeah, she can't sing that to little Margaret O'Brien.
And so let's talk about
sister.
Margaret O'Brien for a second.
Mhm.
She was 6 years old and she was actually becoming a star. And her mother demanded a pay increase for this movie. And MGM was like, we're not doing that. So as a kind of ploy here, MGM brings in the daughter of the lighting technician on the movie. Her name is Sharon McManus, and they even fitted her for wardrobe to kind of. And so
Musical, the bluff. God.
O'Brien's mom didn't budge and said,
Go ahead, let her
if
sing.
you want my daughter, you gotta pay us what she's worth. And MGM finally caved and paid her what she wanted. Then, during filming, members of the crew discovered a lighting technician loosening a massive studio light right above O'Brien's head.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Sharon McManus's father tried to murder Margaret O'Brien on the set. He was immediately removed and admitted to a psychiatric hospital.
Shut up.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, he tried to murder a 6. Last thing on this movie, we had talked in The Wizard of Oz about Judy Garland at length, and we also talked about at some point in her career, a makeup artist this is the movie. Meet Me in St. Louis is the movie. Makeup artist Dorothy Pondell reshaped her eyebrows, changed her hairline, and then removed the nose disc, the dental caps. She took all of it off and went on this movie, on Meet Me in St. Louis. And when Garland saw herself in the mirror for the first time, she wept. But she insisted that Pondell is the only person to do her makeup for every MGM film after that, and she did. And so this was the movie that happened on. I just thought that was a good call.
You know, it is noticeable. It's funny because her face does look slightly good on that woman.
Oh, okay. Number 7, The Great Dictator. The Great Dictator is a 1940 American political satire, written, directed, produced by, and starring Charlie Chaplin. and that is Michelle.
I don't. I mean, we talked quite a bit about this too. But that I like that people tried to. Well, I don't know what I like, but they, people were like, "Is this a tramp?" And no, it's not. And that, I mean, it was a very, very deeply rooted satire, right? And I bet that there were probably still people who didn't really get it.
Really? What?
But I just, I just think it's one of those things that like Chaplin was really good at. He had a vision, right? He wrote it, he directed it, started it, produced it. He knew start to finish how he wanted this to go. And I think, for the most part, this of the Chaplins I have seen, this is my favorite one.
Same.
It's my favorite one.
Andrea, anything else?
No. Yes. Say no, and then yes, this movie could not have been made without the fascists that were over in Europe. So it is very 40s to me. I don't think it could be made
Mhm.
any other time. You don't have to.
It's not that. You're skirting the line here.
I'm skirting, baby. I'm skirting. I'm not dancing. I'm skirting.
So yeah.
Skirt.
Hollywood was initially terrified of challenging Hitler due to strict U.S. neutrality laws, and a bigger fear, I think, of losing the lucrative German film market. So Chaplin self-financed this film. He had to. But the film stirred the ire of right-wing politicians and J. Edgar Hoover. So because of the film's progressive, anti-fascist, and pro-humanity messages, Chaplin was accused of being a communist.
Yeah, so it would happen to him today.
Leading to a massive decline in his public standing. And then let's just talk about 1952. September 1952, Chaplin set sail for London for the premiere of his film Limelight. Right after he left the shore, U.S. Attorney General James McGranery announced that Chaplin's re-entry permit has been revoked. The U.S. government intended to hold an immigration hearing to determine his eligibility to re-enter, labeling him a moral and political undesirable. Rather than return to America to face a hostile immigration board, Chaplin decided to cash out all of his assets from America and settle in Switzerland. Chaplin lived in Switzerland for 20 years. By 1972, political tensions had cooled, and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences wanted to award him an honorary Oscar for his incalculable contribution to cinema. Chaplin decides to return to the U.S. to accept the award and receives a 12-minute standing ovation, which is the longest in Oscar history. Just didn't know that. These are some things Sean didn't know and just wanted to talk about. So
Sad. It's such a sad, but when you see him up there and he's like just tears and it's like
12-minute standing ovation.
Yeah.
Number 8, The Bicycle Thief or Bicycle Thieves, depending on where you look. But this is Vittorio De Sica's 1948 masterpiece, Bicycle Thieves. It is a classic of Italian neorealism that critics love for its simple yet powerful storytelling. Andrea.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I think it opened up the door for more people to appreciate foreign filmmakers, especially the Italians, if we're talking to your mom
From Italy.
Italians from Italy. But yeah, I think it had a huge impact on Italian filmmakers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michelle?
I was going to say the exact same thing about foreign films and
About porn films?
foreign films. These. Sheesh.
Good child.
I like that it's so stark. Like as you know, I love a movie with a terrible ending, right? Or where things don't turn out well, right?
Yeah.
So I,
Look at Sean. He hates. He gets so mad. He does. Oh, like
you don't
I
like.
love the happy ending.
he loves.
Not now. I'm not being juvenile. I love a movie that ends with a happy ending.
I'm like, no, but it was still like Midsommar. I'm like, this movie was fantastic, and Sean's like, no, I'm not. No.
Original Vanishing.
Yes.
It's Dutch, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that Dutch?
I
Mhm.
think it's Dutch.
Okay.
Look,
Anyway. Okay.
Man,
he's like,
life does not always end up
Yeah.
with a happy ending.
And you
so-
knew.
Right. Hey, Michelle. Not a documentary.
But I like that it was stark and like it gave you some hope. You were like, oh, and then you're so invested in
Yeah.
what's gonna happen, and then right back to like
Yeah.
where they started.
Because you're like, it's supposed to happen that way.
Mhm.
There's supposed to be
yeah,
a-
and
a
then he's-
pleasant
and then they're
conclusion.
gonna give him the bike and he's gonna go get the job. And
Yay!
guess what?
Nope.
Sorry.
Anything else, Andrea?
Vincent D'Onofrio got murdered for this, and that wasn't fair.
Okay.
Michelle and I saw the player like 7 times in theaters, but that's because I dragged her and you were working there, and I just wanted to torture you.
Number 9, Laura. Laura, directed and produced by Otto Preminger. Laura is a 1954 American film noir. Motion picture features Gene Tierney and Dana Andrews in the leading roles, supported by a cast including Clifton Webb, Vincent Price, and Judith Anderson. That is Michelle.
I have mixed feelings about this one. I know I'm breaking the rules already.
Wow.
But because I read listen, say what you want about Siskel and Ebert, but that is where we got like a lot of like
Yeah.
when we were kids at the movies. But Roger Ebert had written something about Laura, right? That
I
he
didn't know
that
that.
he quite liked it, but that this movie has a lot of plot holes. And that is hard for me like to because like it never really the thing that he brought up particularly is like, why did they kill the model? Like, why? What? Poor girl. Like, what? Okay.
She was there because Vincent Price was sleeping with her. He knew Laura was out of town. He was engaged with Laura, and he brought the girl who looked just like her
fair enough.
because he had a type, and then she gets shotgunned to the face. So you don't. He thought in the shadows that it was Laura who opened the door.
But the
Ha, Roger.
anyway, all right. So, but I like the pacing of this one because there's a lot going on. So,
Andrea?
Yeah. I love this movie. But I can understand. I remember when I was younger, I was always like, they couldn't tell that it wasn't her. Then I'm like, no, he has a type. He's sleeping with her. It's that I've never things that I did too. And then I was like, she was shotgun into the face, so it had to have been messy. I love, like Michelle just said, pacing. I love the big reveal. You know, obviously, as we said, who said spoiler and sorry, Preston. But you know, Laura is not dead. It's a model that her fiance was paying. But then you even get to the point where you're like, oh shit, did she do it? Like, I will tell you the person who did do it, and I won't tell you.
I will.
The person who did do it, I never fucking suspected once. Not once. And okay, it's been 100 years, everybody. Sorry.
That's interesting because I feel like, I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen this, but I feel like I did know, or at least towards the end, like like you're like, oh, it's the old creepy
Waldo
man.
Lidecker.
Yeah, it's the old man who just
Yeah, you get there, but it's not like when he's telling the
I
story
probably didn't.
when he first meets with the detective, and I never thought
Spoiler
that.
alert, I was a creepy old dude.
And he was fantastic.
Yes.
He was. Yeah.
Just a couple of tidbits, but in Robert Altman's 1992 film about a murderous Hollywood executive called The Player,
What?
a framed poster of the movie Laura hangs prominently in the title character Tim Robbins' office. That was just for you.
That's a
Andrew.
really good movie, people.
is.
If you have not seen The Player, you really should see The Player.
And like all Altmans, there's 1,052 people in it.
A bazillion, a million. Yep.
There was in 2011, there was a video game that I played called LA Noire. And so you had to go around and collect these 50 gold film reels all over LA. And Laura was the highest reward. If you got Laura, then you were, but Martin Scorsese, used Laura as a key reference point for his 2010 film Shutter Island. He sat DiCaprio and Ruffalo down, and the three of them watched Laura together.
Okay.
But he was saying Dana Andrews, the way he wears his tie, the way he walks through a room, and he doesn't even look at anybody. He's always playing a little game. He's just trying to get the facts. That's what I wanted Leo to. Anyway, so they watched.
It's important for him to.
Yes.
Can we spoil Shutter Island?
Can
What
we?
year? Yeah, 2010.
I mean, okay. First of all, the book was
Okay.
real good.
Real good.
Real good.
It's right over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I did not see coming.
Yeah.
So it was important for him to not pay attention to all the things
yes.
happening. Otherwise, he'd have been like, "Oh fuck, it's me.
Yep.
Am I the crazy one?" Yeah.
There's a spoiler alert. The answer is yes. David Raskin's the score for Laura, which didn't have lyric. It was so popular after this movie that lyrics were added following the film's release, and the song became a huge hit. And over the years, the song Laura has been recorded by hundreds, but the top for me, Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, Andy Williams, and then on Seth MacFarlane's 2011 debut album, Music is Better Than Words, he covers it as well. So that's all I had. Last one, number 10, Notorious. This is not the 2009 masterpiece about Biggie Smalls, but a 1946 American spy film.
So you hold your tongue. That is
Directed.
man.
That is the name of a 2009 movie about Biggie Smalls called Notorious. Anyway, this is directed and produced by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman, and Claude Rains as three people whose lives become intimately entangled during an espionage operation. Andrea.
This movie is very good. I do. This is one of my favorite Hitchcock. I feel he kind of. Yeah, I guess we did talk last time about how like he kind of broke free and kind of did his own thing. I'm not a fan of Hitch the person, so this isn't very much separate the art and the artist. But this is so good, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, Michelle.
That's all I got for you.
I love. I'm a big Hitchcock film fan. There's not a lot that for me he does wrong. I love the way his films look, and this is.
Where is he in this?
He is a guest at the party.
Okay,
Like either right before the key, the exchange of the wine cellar. Yeah, he takes a drink out and passes by.
Okay.
He's at the party for sure. I just can't remember exactly where. But
He is drinking champagne at the party, and actually not only drinking it, he like kills a glass of champagne. And,
yeah. And then I think I can't remember, but I think this is the first. This is the first time he got Alfred Hitchcock's.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Above.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Notorious, because that's how he produced it.
Yeah.
And directing, but he covered it all of it. And then going forward, that was part
And it
of
was
his.
yeah.
I feel like this is the first one.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, where it just says Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then from then on, it'll be
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock.
There's
Psycho,
windows.
my personal favorite, Rope.
Okay. That is all 10.
Fuck.
Now we get to the fun part. Okay. Remember, we are voting on what 5 films best represent the 1940s. You can take into account cultural impact, lasting memory, what it did for the film industry. All those things are on the table. So, number 1, Leave Her to Heaven. Michelle.
No.
Andrea,
No.
you don't get any more. You get ones. The Lost Weekend, Andrea.
Yes.
Michelle. Don't do it.
All right. Yes.
I feel like I bullied you into that. I'm sorry. I'm
Did
sorry.
it. Wow.
Casablanca. Michelle.
Yes.
Andrea.
Yes.
Okay. It's a Wonderful Life. Andrea.
Go ahead so I can get my tears out.
This is my all-time favorite movie. I'm just calling him like George Bailey.
Understood.
And I really just think the way it was received, but that doesn't mean the way that it was made. I have to say no.
Okay. Michelle.
Oh, regrettably, no.
You both suck.
We do
5, Double Indemnity. Michelle.
suck.
Andrea.
Yes.
6,
You suck. You're the one that only gives us 5.
Meet Me in St. Louis. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Andrea, Meet Me in St. Louis.
No.
Michelle.
No.
Number 7, The Great Dictator. Michelle.
Yes.
Andrea.
Yes.
Oh, this is no fun. Y'all are going to agree on this. The Bicycle Thief. Andrea.
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Oh, then I guess we're done.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was
Laura and Notorious are not on this list.
they're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, folks. There you
I
have
was
it.
going to say yes to Laura just for you. Not just for you, but
Yeah,
so
I
that
know.
you know.
Yeah.
But then you said yes to Last Weekend.
Yeah. I just won't think. I mean,
It looks like the 40s.
it does.
The thing
It
that I
does.
can't. I mean, it
The
probably
street
could have been any
scenes,
time.
but
Yeah,
no, there's so much.
but it looks like.
50s, somebody else would have been cast, and that's back when Ray Milan. Because then
And
we're
I
going to
think it
go
would have
to
been prettier.
yeah.
I feel like it would have been prettier.
Mhm.
And that's a movie that can't be pretty.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, well, I mean, listen, we have our 5.
Yay!
There was no drama and no arguing, and that's very disappointing.
So
to
we
me.
will
We're
fight.
going to cry
Uh,
later.
yeah.
When this cuts out, we're going to have a drink.
Okay, folks.
For It's a Wonderful Life.
Here are our 5 movies that represent the 1940s. The Lost Weekend, Casablanca, Double Indemnity, The Great Dictator, The Bicycle Thief.
That's it.
Wow. That's our 5.
Our
Hey,
five.
so thank you, everybody. If you're still with us, thanks for listening, putting up with us. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, wherever you're ingesting your podcasts. And hit us up on our socials, wherever we are. The only thing we're not on is X, because X sucks. But hit us up. Leave a comment here if you want, whichever it may be. But just remember, we regret nothing.